is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, we suggest you turn this wacky shit straight off.
And for the last 5 weeks, I've been eating my emotions. It's like anything that's like bread related is just right in my mouth. Yeah. I've gained like 10 pounds, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm going back to the healthy lifestyle. I meant to tell you guys. Well, I just got off the phone with my boss. I had like an hour-long phone call, and I am going back to work on Monday.
Nice. Did he tell you you're pretty?
What'd you say?
I said, did he tell you that you were pretty?
She did not. But she, I don't think the casino's opening, but they want to get a jump on getting some of the signage updated and whatnot, and just being ready for it. So I got to be honest, I was floored. I was like, oh, she's like, so do you want to come back to work on Monday? And I'm like, yes. I mean, I didn't say like, I was like, of course I do. But inside, I'm just like, fuck, I finally just got my unemployment check, and I'm like settling into a groove. I was prepared for a long settle. And
I don't think people are really, well, some people, a lot of people aren't really emotionally ready to go back. I think some people are kind of settling into it and maybe realizing that at least by some media outlets, it seems like this thing may be at the very least turning a corner, but we still don't know. And even the governor just came back on. He's had a couple of speeches this week, not really saying anything too definitive, but definitely being stern about, look, if you're going to be out doing things like protesting the quarantine or, going against the order and opening back up sooner than I'm telling you can, you should be advised that we can and will enforce the law, because it is the law right now. So it's a weird time. No one really knows what to think. And we just had something interesting happen here in town where, and as far as I know, it's the first time this has happened here. We had a local fruit packing facility. I don't know what spurred it, but the owners of the facility partnered with the local hospital. Like, I want to get a whole bunch of tests. I want to test my entire workforce and see where we're at with this thing. So they got like tests for everybody. I feel like it was like 70 some employees. Out of that 70, almost 40 of them, maybe over 40, but definitely more than half tested positive. And none of them have any symptoms.
Wow. So I think that's telling to the whole fucking nation. I got to be honest.
Well, what's interesting is that we don't know what that means yet. We will in a couple of weeks, I think, at least concerning this specific case. If a couple of those people are dead and a bunch of them are in the hospital and super sick, then that's one thing to talk about. But if they remain asymptomatic and they're just able to go back to work after a 2-week quarantine, that's going to be pretty fucking telling on the other end. And I think we're going to be in for a very, very interesting next month and learning a lot about this thing. Finally. Yeah, go ahead.
You heard about New York, right? As of Friday, they're supposed to open up barbers, nail salons, tattooists, and gyms.
I did not hear that.
Yeah. That's the truth. That's a good sign.
Well, I mean, that's New York. I mean, they were the hardest ones hit.
Yeah, they were the worst ones in the country, I think.
That was the governor's releasing that information, unknowns to the president was not happy with it. He's like, no, but like you do what you do,
Well, that seems strange because the president seems to be pushing for getting the economy back up and running as opposed to writing more of these government teat checks.
Well, and everybody's eyes are pretty much locked on as like us in New York, because we're the heaviest hit out of the whole, United States.
Yeah, and we were the first ones to be hit, so they're all watching us to see how this thing pans out. But I really find this, because this is like the first blanket test, again, that I'm aware of that was done in this area. And that very first one showed that half of the people tested were carrying it.
Yeah.
Was this in the Wenatchee World? Was it in the paper?
Yeah.
You got to think their job. They also, if they're infected, they got all the fruit infected and it's shipped off and boxed out.
Mm-hmm. And if half of them are infected, half of us are probably infected. So it goes back to the old.
That's the thing, though, is we don't know if it really works that way.
We don't, and we also still don't know. That out of these, like I said, well, in a couple of weeks, who knows how long these people were all infected. Like there could have been somebody or something that came into that facility that infected them 2 days before, or whatever, however it works, very recently. And so they're not in the phase of the virus where it would be making them sick. I don't know what they're testing for, if they're testing for live virus or antibodies, but so there'll be more answers in a couple of weeks concerning that. But it's hard to not start thinking along the terms that we've been thinking all along, at least as being an option. When we get more tests, we'll see the death toll start going down percentage-wise, and we will start realizing that, maybe we did overact a little bit, overreact a little bit, but now you got people out protesting the quarantine, and people are getting antsy about opening back up their businesses. So we're in a strange place right now. None of this changes the fact that the people that have died are dead. But Wenatchee, it's tough to really gauge what's going on in the world because Wenatchee is so strangely disconnected in a lot of ways. And yet, here we have half of one business, a fairly sizable business for a town this size. Almost 100 people.
Nuts. It's crazy.
Tested positive. What does it mean? We don't know yet. But doesn't it feel like it might mean that most of us have or have had this thing? Doesn't it kind of start to feel like that?
Yeah.
And then the death percentage goes down and down and down, and this is going to lead to a lot of things. One, it's going to lead to more deaths because we're all going to go back to work. But two, I don't think this bell is ever going to be unrung. I don't think this nation will ever take these organizations seriously when it comes to this kind of thing. I think you get one and done here. You know what I mean? I think they've lost, if that's how it pans out, and we are really back to work mid-May, and the numbers just continue to drop and drop and drop because now we're testing everybody. I think I won't predict riots in the street. I think we'll be too busy putting our lives back together. But I think that the real lingering effects of that are going to be pretty key, because I don't think we are going to do this again if that's how it pans out. I don't think we're falling in line again. Not without some serious deaths, like people dropping all around us. And they were kind of telling us that that's how this was going to go. Now, I still don't know what to believe. Don't mistake me for, leaning in on the idea that, well, this is all bullshit. I've always entertained the possibility of it. But the thing all along, and the thing even right now with all these people out there protesting, I get that you're upset about, there's no question, our liberties have been strictly reduced. And that's worrisome. Especially, for people that don't trust the government, that don't, they got a bit of anti-authoritarian in them. Like myself, I don't trust any of these organizations, but I don't know what to do.
Does it really feel like that to you?
Does it really feel like what?
Your liberties have been infringed?
Well,
I don't feel
on
like
paper,
anything is any different for me. Like, I basically do whatever I want. I don't, except for the shows I wanted to go to got canceled. Can't go to a movie, but other than that, it's like I don't feel like I've been infringed upon at all.
I think where people are freaking out is that these are mandates, not strong suggestions. Like in the state of Washington, there's been a fishing ban. I think that confuses people. I don't know. I'm confused by some of the bans and some of the things that aren't banned, but no, I'm not saying that I'm on team our liberties have been taken away. I'm saying that's how a lot of people feel that. And I don't blame them for feeling that. It depends on what you get out of life and what you do with your life.
Right.
I don't go fishing.
If you had felt that, if you felt that at all.
I don't go fishing, but if I was a fisherman, I would be feeling this is weird. But I feel like I'd also be like, I don't want to get sick and I don't want to get anybody sick. So it's across the board for me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, it's like people that want to fish they've been told they can't go fish. Boo fucking who? I wanted to go see my goddamn concerts. I didn't go see them. Boo fucking who?
Your freedom to see that concert has been taken away. Is how I'm assuming.
Sacrifices,
That's how I'm assuming these people are feeling. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of vilification. Is that the right word? Of these people, and it's pissing me off. It's a very, very selfish thing to do on one hand, and I don't. but I think
vilification of which people?
I think of the people that are out there protesting. I think I get on a small level why they're doing it, but mostly I think it's selfish and not terribly smart, not in a self-preservation way. And for a group of people that claim to have these liberties being taken away and claim to be afraid of the state and, their ever encroaching reach, they're doing everything right to actually force a martial law type situation by being
right?
out there shaking hands and getting
like
up
a
in
bunch of idiots.
people's faces and ignoring the laws. I think the laws have been pretty lenient with them, and what's interesting to me is that so many of them are wearing masks. I'm like,
right?
Wait, so you're out here protesting and you think that it's bullshit, but you're wearing masks just to hedge your bets? Like, do you even know what you believe? But then I got thinking, I bet a lot of them do believe the virus is a thing. They just don't believe that it's big enough necessarily to warrant how we have shut the world down. But I have been checking in with talk shows and, political pundits to see where everyone's at. And overwhelmingly on the right side of things, whether it's Limbaugh or Hannity, I'm hearing almost nothing but, let's go back to work, back to work, back to work, back to work. This is stupid. This is silly. You don't need a mask. Did you guys hear I'm pretty sure it's the most recent Joe Rogan podcast. He was interviewing a comedian. I can't remember who, but he pulled up a video of a press conference. Maybe I shouldn't even brought it up. I don't have the details, but it's some brand new press conference. I don't remember where it was. It was a politician came in. He wasn't wearing a mask. And I believe the person he was talking to was wearing a mask. And the politician was like, yeah, you don't need that mask.
Oh, yeah. You've all been, go ahead.
And he said, the guy with the mask on was, well, all of us have been vaccinated anyway.
He said, you've all been vaccinated anyway, right? But they said it in a way that could have been a joke, but definitely stirred the pot. Like it was right before they were going to go on or right after or something, so the cameras shouldn't have been rolling at that time.
Yeah.
What do you know, Dave? You can take out the mask, Doug. The case fatality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC. Is it really? That's reassuring. USC. Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway. USC and LA County Public Health come up with a study. They found that there were 7,000 cases in California, but they really believe that there are anywhere from 221,000 to 442,000 people who were infected. Really? Yeah.
So that makes it 0.1 to 0.3? Does a study to give out with?
Yeah, just give it to that. So it suggests that the case fatality rate is about 10. It seems. Wow. Puts you right in line with the flu.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
So it was a hoax. I don't think it was a hoax.
It really didn't
joke.
sound like a joke to me the way, because I heard that, I listened to that.
Yeah.
It really didn't sound.
It didn't to me
like
either.
it was a jokey fashion at all.
But we can't know.
We can't.
But it was an interesting thing, and it got me thinking. It was like, where are we, and where do they want us to be? If this is a thing, and not even in a conspiracy way, but if they're ahead of the game on like, yeah, we maybe went a little crazy on this. What do? Do they just admit that and say, you know what, just go back to work?
I think they spin it as we saved American lives by,
Donald
forcing
Trump
this
certainly will.
Well, yeah. So here's the problem.
Because of my actions.
Here's the
We
problem,
save more
and I'm
lives
sure-
than any. Okay.
Here's the problem, and I'm sure you guys have seen this many times, is that if we did the right thing and we flattened the curve, it's going to look like we overreacted.
Yeah. Sure.
Because you know what I mean? The
But
only
when
way
we have that
people are gonna
second
get-
wave going back in the middle of May, aren't we?
Right.
Don't we have to have at least one second wave of what we had all over again?
They're predicting that we will have a really strong second wave in the
That's
fall.
probably what's going to happen.
And that's what's going to be the true test, right?
Don't ruin Halloween, bro.
Did the country cry wolf and now they won't react and then we get butt fucked in the fall? I don't know.
It's a tricky thing. And I think that's kind of why, well, there's a lot of reasons why we're so stressed. We don't want to die. We don't want to lose our jobs. We don't want to go broke. We don't want to lose our homes, but we also don't know what the fuck is going on. And we don't know how it's going to be.
Around the horn.
I didn't even see that whole footage.
Go ahead, Lyle. No. Please.
Because it's kind of one of those things. When you look back on the Obama healthcare, when that came about, the thing was like 6 foot tall. You know what I mean? There were people who were told to sign it, not even to read it. Oh, we'll tell you about it once you sign it.
Yeah.
But we found out later that most everybody and their kids were exempt from it.
What are you talking about?
Everybody that signed that bill, all their kids themselves are exempt from it. They don't have to pay.
Congress is exempt from everything.
Yeah. So what makes you think that?
Oh, all of the government's kids. Got you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what makes you see that they didn't see this coming and said, what? We do know part of the cure, and we'll just vaccinate everybody. But what happens out there doesn't matter because
Well, once this is wrapped up to some degree, it'll be fun. It'll be more fun then to get into some of the conspiracy theories. But I still think it might not be a great idea to go too rabbit holey. But Chris, what were you rounding the horn?
Round the horn. What do you guys miss the most? What's the one thing that I think I can say John Mark's probably going to say his concerts based on what he said just now. But John Mark, we'll start with you.
Yeah, live music.
Live music. Okay.
Probably going out to eat. Like you can still get food, but it's a different experience,
Yeah. Lyle.
I would say the gym.
The gym. I knew it was going to be the gym.
Yeah,
Ronster, I don't know what the
would be on my
Ronster
list as well.
It's up on. I don't know what the Ronster is going to say.
Well, the only thing I really miss is the only thing that I really did on a daily basis, and that was just chill down at the market with my laptop and working on shit, because that's kind of how I created. That was my spot. I would run into folks that I know, and I don't know, just being out. I'm really getting tired of working at home, even though I've changed my location of where I work like 3 times just in my house just to mix it up. What about you, Chris? That's what did you say?
It's definitely the pinball, though. Like, our whole community is dying right now. We have a really cool community here for that stuff, and
it'll come back.
Yeah, I hope so. It's if the businesses can survive however long they're going to be shut down, because they don't have you ran a bar, shit. The profit margin isn't high.
No, the most analysts, like business analysts, are predicting that we're going to lose over half of our restaurants and bars for that exact reason. It's like even if everybody and there's another end of this too that'll make this tricky, is because even if the government says open up by the end of May, we'll extend it that far, it's not. I don't think people are going to trust it right away, and I think people have settled into a different way of life to some degree. Some of them aren't going back out. A lot of people I know are telling me they have more money than ever right now because they're not going out. They're not going out to the bar. They're not going out and eating. One trip out can easily approach $100 if you're going, or more. And a lot of people do it. I'm a bar fly. I kind of hung out bars most of the last few years. But the other part of this is once they give us the go-ahead, I don't think it's going to be the floodgates like we've all been talking. I think there's going to be why don't you guys go out and I'm going to check in with you in a week or so.
And people are going to be...
don't you think? I think everyone's going to be a little shy.
Yeah.
And by then, these businesses will have been closed 3 months. They just can't sustain that. And it sounds like a lot of the small business loans and stuff and all the things that were supposed to go out to help these businesses, that money's already gone.
Like it's already got snatched up by too? Did you see like corporations like Ruth Chris Steakhouse?
Yeah.
Took, I don't know how much, like $60 million or something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what the logic is and how they have justified it, but yeah, it's frustrating. And I can only imagine being a small business and on top of just dealing with everything else,
I honestly think that things are going to be back. I think within the next week.
Really?
I think the bullshit going on over New York's going to have everybody's eyeballs. Everybody's going to get stir crazy about it, and they're going to just fly it to the wind. You guys all been here to East Wenatchee. I went down to 7-Eleven to get something, right? And they got these giant plexiglass things hanging, for the cash safeties.
They have those up at all our supermarkets right now.
Mm-hmm. Sure. You go where they usually have like hot dogs and shit, and it's wide open.
Wide open hot dogs. Yeah, it's very inconsistent.
and they're still
Help
selling
yourself.
shit. So I think everybody's over the whole niche of that, and they think, well, you know what? I'm not 90 years old, and I don't, have asthma.
I think some people certainly feel that way, but I don't know. It's going to be really hard to say.
I think everybody's eyes are going to be on New York when it's this. If he does do it, I guarantee you, everybody else is going to be wanting to get in line and go, okay, can I open up mine now? New York's a huge fucking I would never ever live there in my life. It's so many people stacked on each other, and in small businesses like that.
It's crazy. Remember, I don't know if you recall, but just a couple of weeks before this shit went down, I was like, hey guys, I'm going to go to New York this summer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm searching for anything to say.
Who's this
that
yesterday?
They're talking about opening up New York. I'm seeing
that's
they're looking to start planning it, but
they were talking about Friday. It would be the simple things. It's
tomorrow.
Yeah, barber.
Is that the Fox News Channel, Lau?
And so it was on Nori last night.
I just don't think there's any way. I think
Friday.
that's reckless. We don't know.
It's all up
anything
in the
about
open.
this.
Already talked about it. It should be in one of the briefings.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying the idea.
What do you think?
I'm saying they're wrong.
It's New York. It's like a fucking ground zero, man. It's like if you're
Cuomo was so strict about it at first and seemingly smart about it. That seems incredibly reckless. Yeah, I'm seeing quotes from Cuomo saying worst is over. We have no way of knowing that.
And this is the exact same thing that happened in 1918. They thought, oh, the worst is over, and then boom, fucking billions of more people died. Not billions, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, the same thing. It's a very relatable thing because people were saying, clamoring, we got to get back to business. The economy's going to be tits up. And yeah, they lost a bunch of more people, maybe even more than before. Some of these second waves are stronger than the first waves because at this point, the virus has spread so much that the second you come out of hiding, it's everywhere. Like you are getting it. But I do think that most of these safeguards are going to be in place for a long time, including quite literally the safeguards. Like the plexiglass, I don't think that's ever coming down. Why would it?
Question I was going to ask you guys.
I think a lot of these safety precautions are things we probably should have been doing for a while. And now that they're in place, leave them up. Maybe the 6-foot rule is going to be something that won't linger. I hope it does to some degree because I don't think it's fucking many things up. Maybe I'd go to a grocery store in LA and I guess you'd probably have a different opinion, but here I like it. You guys have heard me rant about people crowding me in the fucking grocery store line. I feel like I'm a king on his own island when I'm in line with Fred Meyer these days.
Fucking freak magnet. I don't know what it is. You are the Tiger King of Wenatchee.
Sarah just said something like that. Yeah, she's been with me over a year now, and she's seen a lot of freaks come and go. Some of them haven't gone. Anywho, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a big couple of weeks, and I still feel like there's no way that we're going to be back to the real world anytime too terribly soon. I feel like we may be halfway through the quarantine, optimistically. That's what I feel. But people are starting to go back. The other thing, like with Chris going back, though, there still is no official, like when the governor came on, his initial reopen date or quarantine, we'll check and see date was May 5th or May 4th, something like that. That he's come on and said it's not looking like we're remotely going to be going back and reducing anything, except maybe some lighter restrictions on some things. Maybe some industry, like construction, hair salons, and he's always clear to emphasize, with new practices and guidelines.
Well, there's certain things like in dialysis they use it's similar to what I own for heating and air conditioning. It's just a temp gun. It's a laser temp gun. So like I could point it at your forehead and tell you what your temperature is.
Is it accurate too, like that?
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. So like You could use that. I used to use it in the wintertime to find out how cold it was. Just
Look how hot my dick's getting. Bleep.
Whoa, man.
101.
Actually, that's a different story.
I got a fever.
But like if somebody implemented that with like in a hair salon, like you made an appointment, let's check your temperature. Boom,
No, the problem is like with that. Yeah, go ahead.
Because that's how it works with dialysis. If you have a temperature in the lobby, they'll kick you right out.
Well, it's just like with that story Ron brought up, though. We don't know how many people aren't showing the symptoms. So how effective is that?
You could have it with not having a fever. And a lot of people are fighting those kinds of things. Like that's an invasion of my privacy. It's a weird world, but that goes back to what we've been saying all along, and a lot of people have been thinking all along. The other side of this world, like there is no going back to normal after this. I still believe that, even if this does pan out to not have been that big of a thing, as big as we thought it was going to be anyway. I still think we're going to, like I said, keep these things implemented, and I think that we're going to do just like when after 9/11, we never went back to getting on a plane the same way and with having the same restrictions. That changed forever. What is it? The Freedom of Information Act and all of this power that the government got because of 9/11, that's still in practice. It never went away. And I think that we're going to see a similar thing where we're going to be like, well, you know what? People are used to this now. It's one effective way. And I wouldn't be surprised if they'll be adding something to take your temperature before you get on an airplane, because it may not tell you that you're well, but it will tell you if you're unwell in certain situations. I don't know.
Yeah. I think they're gonna have some kind of like nose swab that instant tests you for. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Well, like I don't know. Jesus.
Who am I kidding?
Yeah, who am I kidding?
Well, the first step, as it's always been, more tests. Just get the fucking tests, and that proves that point with this local story. Like, well, we know a lot more now, don't we? And in a couple of weeks after they've been quarantined, we'll know a lot more about the virus, I think, in general. That one localized incident is going to, even if it's not universally applicable, and I think it probably will be, people are going to pay attention to that. And they're going to be like, well, fuck, if half of us have it and we don't even know, I'm not wearing the mask. I'm going back to work. I'm opening my business. It'd be interesting to see. But in terms of like a mandate, I don't think that we've already shut down schools until the fall. It's possible that those will come back in this year, but everything else I think is pretty much going to stay the same. I don't think you're going to see theaters. You're not going to see live music. You're not going to see gatherings or sporting events. What you'll see is hair salons, and which, by the way, I had no idea how many of my friends were were hairdressers, or how many of my friends relied upon them. That seems to be one of the number one industries people are complaining about right now.
I had to go back to work Monday, and I look like a fucking vagrant. I gotta get a fucking haircut.
I broke out the clippers yesterday, and I pussed out again. I got the sides and the back all shaved, and I went to cut the top, which is about 5 inches long, and I just pussed out. I was gonna cut it down to like 2 inches long, and then
you should just go full mullet, Lyle.
I could shave it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, full mullet. Well, should we move on to chatting about our movie?
Yes.
We had
our
very first. I guess Cinema Club. What are we calling this thing? Did we come up with the name? I feel like we came up with the name.
We do, but I think it needs a better one.
Yeah.
What was the old one?
Yeah, I don't remember what the old one was. And I got to be honest, I don't even remember a ton about this movie. I got kind of hammered. And we watched it a week ago.
Samesies.
And just so you know, what this is not going to be, there are, of course, probably hundreds of podcasts out there at this point specifically reviewing movies, and they get super thorough and they go into trivia, and that's not what this is going to be. This is more of a casual, like a book club for movies. You watch the movie and then we discuss our feelings. But we also are doing this thing, the Netflix watch party, and we had people show up. It was great, and it was a lot of fun. But I will say this. This might not have been the greatest movie to start with, because there's a cadence you got to get used to. And I kind of slipped into it about 20 minutes into it, because I couldn't really focus on the movie and the Chat, and this was a pretty heady movie.
It's intense for a bit, yeah.
So we watched Freaks upon John Mark's suggestion, and I don't think any of us really knew anything about it. This one came out in 2018 or 2019, depending on where you're looking. But very low budget movie. In fact, we'll talk about that more.
Jack Black was in it.
What's that?
I said Jack Black was in it.
Yeah, but that was that was Emile Hirsch as I think Henry. I got this right in front of me. Let me scroll down here. He played the dad, and boy, he looked like Jack Black in this movie. His hairstyle, his facial hair, like if Jack Black was on a quarantine diet. That's about how he would look. Yeah, so he played Henry Lewis, father of a young girl named Chloe, and he was keeping her locked up in this very troubling filth pad.
It had a poop monster.
I kept thinking Lau kept spying the poop monster on the wall, surrounded by all these drawings. But it's one of those houses where you're like, come on, does anyone really live in houses quite that filthy? But I'm pretty sure from reading up on it that was just a house that existed in that condition, and they kind of I'm hoping that they bleached some of the rat shit to avoid some hantavirus.
Oh my God!
But I'll just go ahead and say it. The movie.
I don't remember it being that filthy. Jesus Christ!
Oh, it was crazy rundown. But and the roof was missing in parts. Yeah. But the budget of this thing is apparently $2,000. Now I'm guessing they spent more than $2,000 on it because it looks pretty good. But you can tell that it's a low budget, and they got creative with it.
2 or 20? I thought you said it was 20.
No, 2 is what they said, and I cross-referenced it on several sites. Now, nothing broke it down, but apparently a couple of blogs said that basically the director, Zach Lipovsky, or Adam Stein and Zach Lipovsky, they basically just asked all their friends, and they had friends in high places, and they knew Bruce Dern. And
for some perspective, because I don't think many people have seen this feels like a real movie. This isn't like a super low budget. It definitely felt low budget, but it didn't feel like an indie film a bunch of students put together. It felt industry quality. Like there was special effects, things were lit well, things were acted by decent actors. So when he says it's a $2,000 budget, we were like, whoa.
But when I looked up, go ahead.
Well, I mentioned on there, I said, these guys must have saved a fortune by just using one property to film on because
most of it took place in the house.
But a lot of it was CG'd to the point where, when they're time traveling or whatever, or moving through time and space, they were still filming in the same attic of the building. So it's not like they had to rent multiple buildings, multiple sites. Right there will save your indie movie, thousands of dollars.
Are we going to go into a spoiler zone and say,
I'm not going to give a synopsis so much because I'm assuming that anyone listening has already seen the movie. In fact, if you haven't, this is going to be probably pointless because we're just shooting the shit about what we saw. So again, the first half hour, there's probably a lot that I missed. And I didn't go back and rewatch it, but I remember thinking that the dad was a piece of shit. And I think we're supposed to think the dad was a piece of shit by locking his daughter up. And, she tried to get out to see that little kid that was outside that creeped me out more than a lot of people for some reason. Everyone that was outside did kind of seem off. Did you find that? Like there was this weird cadence you got into with what was happening.
But then you kind of learn why later on too.
But the first time you see Bruce Dern as the ice cream man and all those bubbles, you're like, well, this can't be a good guy.
Yeah.
Of course, he ends up being. They all end up being related, and I kind of saw that coming before it was announced. But I really liked those early interactions with Bruce Dern and Chloe. I'm spacing. What was Bruce Dern's name? Right? Alan, Mr. Snowcone. Yeah, because you didn't know, is this guy a rapist? But then she hops into the truck, and I really liked that it became, for a little bit, it became this kind of nifty little oddball buddy movie. Yeah. And their dialogue and their interaction and Chloe's ability to just even make him shut the fuck up or do what she demanded was pretty great. So she had the power of telepathy. Alan had, was it just the power of invisibility, or did he have more power than that? I think it was mostly just invisibility.
I think it was mostly invisibility, yeah.
And then Henry had the power of time manipulation, which was used to really cool effect.
Yeah, that was great. So he could like make a little bubble, and time would be super slow in anything outside that bubble, like slow motion, but real time inside the bubble. The bubble could be,
Oh, go ahead.
The bubble, and we learn later, I mean, spoiler alert, the coolest part of it, about his story to me, was how fucking tragic it was that he'd been keeping a bubble around his house for 7 years, and it'd only been 3 months outside, and he hadn't been sleeping to keep his daughter safe, basically. Yeah. That was fucking crazy. And then a couple of times he passes out and that weird thing happens where it's like shing, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then it made sense later on.
The coolest uses of the bubble were one where Alan gets shot, but he's invisible, and the agent, what's her kisser from? Was it Boomer?
Yeah.
She's the one that shot him, and all you see is like the bullet and the little blood just kind of like hit against the wall. You remember that scene where it was
it
was so fucking cool. But then the second one was when all the ADF agents, I think they were called the Abnormals, all these freaks were called the Abnormals, and so this task force that was dedicated to hunting them down, when Henry goes out to basically get rid of them to protect. At this point, Mary, the mom, was decided to not be a ghost locked in the closet, but she was actually still alive, being held up on that very James Bondy.
That was the only thing I didn't jive well with, was that set. For some reason, it set wonky with me. It felt like a bad video game, like from the 90s.
Yeah. But anyway, before we move on, the thing I was saying, where he goes out and he's in the bubble, and there's like those 3 agents, and he shoots 3 shots outside the bubble, and you see the bullets just like moving super slow, and then he walks away, and by the time he's back inside, the time speeds back up, and they just all drop dead. It was a pretty cool effect.
Yeah, that was neat. I think one of my favorite things about that movie was how creative they were, like Lyle said, using that same room to shoot those shots, because we find out that the girl has the ability, the little girl, to jump into other people's minds or visit them in other places. Like they can see her in wherever they are, but it's always shot from like she's in her attic basement, her attic room, and the room changes with lighting and stuff. So now they're, what I'm talking about. I'm not wording this very well, but they make the room lights look different and make you feel like you're somewhere else, even though you're just still in that room.
Yeah, I wish there's a way. Maybe there is. I'll have to look into it. I guess you could just record a screenshot with OBS if nothing else. But it'd be fun to be able to archive the chat so we can kind of use that as a reference for what people thought along the way. But because there's a lot of things that people chimed in, and some pretty good jokes, some pretty good riffs that popped up along the way. But yeah, I enjoyed 90% of it. I found to be great, and even the parts that kind of lost me. I got to admit, the very end, like when Mary, after Henry dies, and then Mary grabs Chloe and they head to the sky. That, I don't know. I wasn't crazy about that ending. It seemed kind of like a cliche now, and it looked, by the way, that they were flying into space. So that was Mary's. Her gift was flight. I also didn't really understand how her landing, abruptly, albeit, like the way that she saves Chloe from the agents was she goes way up and then comes back down super fast. I guess there's a sonic boom. And that
kind of shockwave,
and everybody just exploded. It was neat, and it was neat to see all those agents turned into goop. But I wasn't crazy about the very ending, but I thought it was fine. And it's hard to miss the Fantastic Four or X-Men similarities, right? Like it's this group.
It reminded me more
different powers.
What was it, like the late 80s Superman?
Oh, yeah.
80s Superman, or it's Wonder Woman kind of.
Yeah, I got some really heavy Fear vibes from that.
Yeah.
Like the Fear of the video game series.
Yeah, that bullet time. That's what they call it in the video games, where the bullet goes really slow and then, ramps up real fast.
I'm not familiar with that. But it looks like worldwide it grossed not quite $400,000, which isn't impressive until you you do the math on that return.
It's a night at Red Lobster for everybody.
Yeah, sure. Well, IndieWire.
I have to wonder how much it really costs. Like what was?
Yeah, there's no way.
What would the monetary value be of everything that went into it? You know what I mean?
Well, if you already had a desktop editing machine and you already had access to actors, that would have, typically paying well-known actors is your biggest expense for a super cheap indie movie. Cameras these days, you can be, you can rent them for pretty darn cheap. Or borrow, or use your fucking iPhone. As long as you have a good way of getting good audio, iPhones can absolutely shoot a feature film these days. If you have the latest one and you know how to tweak the footage in post.
Did you see that one? There was that one movie. I can't remember what it's fucking called now. It's like kind of a horror-ish psychological thriller about this woman in sort of like an insane asylum, and some weird shit happens. I can't remember what it's called, but that was all filmed on an iPhone.
Yeah,
and it was an actual theatrical release, and it actually looked really fucking good. I can't remember what it's called right now, though.
That's beginning to be a trend. There's a lot of movies out there that just been filmed on phones.
I think it's amazing. Now we need the audio portion to catch up, because you can get amazing video. And honestly, I mean, I'm always blown away. I use my iPhone to jot down song ideas, and it's incredibly clear and usable. And even you could do a podcast if you sat. John Mark and I have done that. Holly and I used to do that. We would just put the iPhone toward us and we'd record. It's perfectly usable audio, but it's not feature film usable audio. And you can get microphones and stuff to plug into it. But I think the next big thing in filmmaking will be that missing link. And then you can go out and film literally something that looks and sounds better than Star Wars with your fucking phone, with nothing but your phone, and maybe a little sweetening in post. But IndieWire didn't like the film. It gave it the lowest rating I saw, which is like 26%, and just thought it was a low budget knockoff of all the things. But it's doing well on Rotten Apple.
Weird.
It only seems to go up.
Rotten Apple.
Rotten Apple. There's a local comedy group that's obviously infected my brain on that. Rotten Tomatoes. It looks like the critics have it at 86, and the audience has it at 86, and the critics have it at 87. So it's neck and neck. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
I gotta be honest, it was one of my favorite movies I've seen recently. I thought it was. I mean, I saw Parasite recently, and I thought this was better than Parasite.
What?
I didn't care for Parasite very much, and I love foreign films. I just, for some reason, it just didn't. You know what it was? I can tell you, hands down. It was the same exact thing from Bridget. The fucking trailer for that movie made it seem like it was a great horror movie with some cool twist coming. So the whole time, I'm waiting.
Not a horror movie at all.
Not at all, but it feels like it might turn at any moment. Like there's just like, and the trailer was so definitively, you know what I mean? Like, did you see the trailer? Oh, anyways,
I don't know anything about it. Yeah, no, I'm out of the loop. This was the first movie I watched, period, in a while. So.
Did you see it in the theater or no?
No, we watched it here.
It's to see that the cinematography of that film.
It was
see it on the big screen. Oh my god,
very well shot. It was a beautiful movie, but I just wasn't. Just meh.
Well, you made a little music and made me remember that how great the soundtrack was, the score for this movie. I'm always very attentive. Never know which one's right. To
attentive.
The score, and I love good movie music. I thought it was really, really well done. In fact, I should look to see who done that, but that really helped. I think overall it ended up being a surprisingly emotional movie to me anyway. It's like there was a lot of metaphor and that's the one thing that I came away with. It was, there's children in my life now, and so like there's a lot of parental and like sheltering from the world metaphor.
There was a scene where the kid starts melting down at the dad, and I was like, I looked at Bridget and I was like, bro, this is too real right now. Like,
yeah, you're like, we came for an escape.
I know. I think I typed that in caps in the thing.
Yeah, you did. It was sort of a timely thing for us to watch because it was about being cut off and, isolating yourselves inside your house for the betterment of the souls within, like the dangers.
Topical.
Yeah, and that was another thing that was like, yeah, this isn't escapism. This is life right now. It's like, we want to go out. I don't care if the ice cream man's going to rape me in the back of that van. I got to live a little. But, yeah, that was a strange thing.
Choco bar.
That was a strange parable. And there's a lot of metaphor about that, too. It was like for the overall good, even though it's terrible, and even if it may be something that we are doing too strictly, it's still... He still had a point,
Yeah,
people were trying to get those kids on the outside.
You could look at the abnormal situation as being having COVID antibodies. You know what I mean? Like you could directly apply it to like, oh, these people are a danger to society because of whatever reason. We must remove them or control them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lots of metaphor, lots of timely shit in the movie. I'm still looking to see who did the score since I brought it up. Okay, it looks like original music composed by Tim Wynn. I'm going to put him into internet music. Good Lord, my brain is...
Put it into this rotten apple.
Put it into this rotten apple music data file here. I've been working on that.
Movie, I thought it was pretty all right, for the most part. The visual effects could have been worked on a lot. That was the only downside, I think, to the movie. The story was good. Like you said, the sound effects, all the score, the music entitled to it, the emotions to it. But a lot of the video effects seemed like, from like a standard, it wasn't that good.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good.
My own opinion, but I mean...
they weren't great, but they were believable. They were better than like I expected for a film that was made for even $20,000.
That's where it gets it. For the price that they paid, for $20,000 or $2,000. I mean, it's exceptional. But like,
I think it was amazing.
As a viewer, I didn't find that there were that was the only downside I felt to the movie.
I remember, I've worked enough in special effects. A lot of times I remember thinking, how did they do that? And the funny thing about big budget movies is you never really think that anymore. You don't really think, how did they do that? But the low budget movies, they usually have to incorporate way more practical effects in with those digital effects. And there were a couple of things in there that I was like, I wonder how they did that, how they melded that so seamlessly. I mean, obviously the answer is computers, but there's some real world shit going on there too. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm kind of sad that we so quickly moved past, the early 90s, late 80s and early 90s to mid 90s was, to me, the golden era of indie film, because they were just like gritty and super low budget. And we didn't have digital cameras, not really. And so you would you borrow your uncle's 16 millimeter, in some cases 8 millimeter, get a tape recorder and just go to Radio Shack and get a mic, and you would just do it. And it would have this feeling, this vibe, that it was like part of a movement. Very quickly became a thing where we all had Final Cut Pro and maybe a DV or some sort of digital camera that we could get pretty good effects. And then the desktop effects with After Effects and all that stuff came. And then everything's pretty much started looking fairly pro. And I miss indie films looking and sounding like indie films to some degree. So sometimes movies like this give me a little bit of that vibe. Well, I'm sure there are people out there doing it. I mean, that filming with all of that old shit, and where they're out there with, what are those, a Nagra, the audio recorders, and a microphone, a boom mic, and a 16 millimeter, making films look like that. But it was fun to see what people could do with those limitations. And now, a green screen in your home and an iPhone can put you in outer space, and I think explosions come pre-canned.
Yeah, I think that's what's fun about like the whole iPhone thing too, is that even that technology, as advanced as it is, it's considered to be what you're comparing it with, like red cameras and all kinds of shit like that. That's still a limitation, what I mean? And that's like, that's something that's accessible to everybody. So you really just need your imagination and a little bit of technical know-how to do the editing and some other stuff. Because I actually made a film for work on my iPhone, my work phone, which was an iPhone 6S. Just a little short film, 3 minutes.
Is this when you were working at the porn shop, John?
Nope.
Gotta test the product.
A little side hustle.
Just on my phone with what's that program in there? Not GarageBand, but the one for films.
Yeah,
iMovie. Yeah. So basically, I just use iMovie, and that thing, like, when you have limitations like that, you have to, you have to get creative and like kind of work with what you get.
I wonder how many fucking porns are produced on iMovie and iPhones these days.
Oh, probably tons of them.
Maybe the majority. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you don't need great, amazing sound, just clear, and you can clean up a lot in Premiere or whatever you're editing in. At the click of a button. I just had to get rid of one of the people that were part of this Alice in Wonderland audiobook we're doing. Has an amazing voice, but he has this sort of click and very noticeable breath. So between like literally every line was like, I mean, it was kind of like that dramatic. I don't know if he had a gain setting on his mic that picked that up more than everything's just asthmatic. But I found a piece of software. It's a plugin for Premiere or Audition.
Is it just clean them up?
It's called D-Breath. That's all it does. It's a one-trick horse. But holy shit, I would have been there for like an entire day editing all those out manually with little. You can clean it up a little bit with the inherent filters in Audition or even Premiere, but this fixed it immediately. And sometimes it worked a little too well, so like it would cut off some of the S's or maybe a little bit of N. Just anything that was kind of in that same register. So all you had to do was duplicate the track and leave one in there at the bottom that was the original unmolested track, if you will. So occasionally when something got cut off, you just had to pan that back up and get the end of the S. It saved me. But yeah, so there's stuff like that for everything. There's all these filters, the filters in the newest versions of like After Effects or Premiere, they are, there's a lot of amazing options that are literally at the push of the button. You don't even have to tweak them. You just apply the filter and you're like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because it's just, holy shit, in one button. I don't know what's happening in there. You used to have to do all that manually, adjusting the gamma and the contrast and the color correcting. And most people still are doing that. Like most professionals are doing that to some degree manually. But I'm sure they're utilizing these filters as well, because sometimes you plop the filter and you're like, wow, we're done.
Yeah, I would think that a lot of them do like you say, and they use the filter at first, and they go make another pass through it tweaks, just to kind of check.
LUT packs you can't just put all your resources into, because they don't always all work. Just something to throw off of what John Mark was saying is like another big thread going around is people are using those red cameras, which are $20,000-$30,000 cameras.
Are they still that much?
Oh my God, dude. There's so fucking much.
Criminy.
Even the older ones are that much. But they're using vintage lenses that you can get off eBay for like $50.
Ooh, I like that.
50 millimeter, like 1.2, really good aperture lenses that could see in the dark. And they're slapping them on these giant, beasts as a machine, like the Reds and the Red Dragons, and just coming out with amazing stuff.
There are filters in Premiere already that, just like with the Kodak and some of the old Cineflex and all those Panasonic famous cameras and looks that they were known to get, there are a selection of red ones, filters to try to emulate the red cameras, which I thought, that's kind of interesting. Get the look of cameras that came out 2 years ago. But
what they are, they're LUTs, and they're called they're lookup tables. So what you do is you take and they originally started doing it for film stock. So you'd find the film stock you would want, and because you're not shooting on film anymore, you're shooting on digital. So basically, they make these LUTs, these lookup tables, and they would adjust them to fit film footage, like the end result of film. So that's how they all started out. And then throughout the years of the last few years, a lot of people have just been doing off movies. So they'll take a tonality like out of a movie, like say The Matrix. A lot of It was dark and
give me the greens. Yep.
Right. So what they'll do is they'll make a lookup table, which takes all the colors and they just shift them a little bit to that side, and then you can just slap it on your footage. Yeah. So you could run around with your DSLR, go crazy. We could chase Chris around downtown Wenatchee in the middle of the night with a trench coat, and then take it back and then slap that blood on it. It looks just like a picture.
Mm-hmm. There's one setting out there that's called Hollywood, Mexico. It's kind of become a cliche, like whether you're watching Breaking Bad or anything that shows any American television show or movie that shows, and now back to Mexico. It's like super orange and brown and dusty and devoid of all greens and
the sky is super contrasty.
Yeah, it just looks like this dusty wasteland. It's kind of funny, and once you notice that, once you're aware of that, you can't unsee it. Like every fucking TV show does this, but Breaking Bad did it probably to the most extreme. But yeah, and it's fun. It's so fun to play with those filters too, because that in and of itself, just like when you're experimenting with audio gear in your studio, a sound that you discover could itself inspire a song. It's like, ooh, that's doing something there. I'm going to feed off that. That could also help still steer the mood of your film. And everyone's played with this. You know, we've all played with like Instagram, or they do have filters like this for video. And it's essentially like that. It's a bit more complicated in Premiere, of course, especially if you're going to tweak them. But it's that easy to start dialing in some of those looks. But speaking of that, the look of this movie, the color correcting I thought was very, in a lot of ways, was very Marvel-y. Did you guys find that? Like the Marvel movie look. Not that they're trying to emulate it, but
well, kind of, right? Like they want it to be treated. I mean, like that's what's hot right now, right? I love fucking Marvel movies. That's maybe why I enjoyed this so much, because it had that like grassroots Marvel feel. You know?
Yeah. Well, you can even see this like sliding its way into whether it's the X-Men or, like I said, the Fantastic Four. It's like it could the Elementals even. There should be an Elemental movie. But you know, take any of those freaks with powers movies, and this could be a side plot, or it felt like an origin story. Did one of you suggest that it could easily be turned into an ongoing series? I guess that could be true of anything.
I said that about any story that I like that's a movie these days, because I've been so spoiled by shows like Game of Thrones that have 7 fucking great seasons or whatever. I'm always like, this should be a series, hands down.
It definitely seemed like it could be open for a further continuation as far as the storyline goes.
Yeah, keep it going, but a little bit bigger budget. Maybe put it on, I don't know, Showtime or one of those. I don't think HBO would be interested in it, but that could be a pretty cool thing. Or Netflix. It'd be a great Netflix show.
I mean, even if they waited a couple years, they could use the same actresses. You know what I mean? Like she would be a little bit older and like.
Yeah, the next generation. Or then you can imagine what freak
chapter in the story
her kids would be.
I really enjoyed the color grade of the movie itself, because it was like it had the warms when it needed it. You know, like inside the house. They could have went a whole different route with it and made it kind of like feel like a creepy place. But they didn't. They didn't fully do it. And then once they opened up the door and you got outside and all the bright, vibrant, you know, saturation of everything, it wasn't too much, but it was just enough to make it feel like you're in a different world. Mm-hmm. You know, which I really enjoyed that part of it.
Well, I feel like we came up with all of this already, and maybe I'll go back, or maybe you guys will let us know, because I feel like we are onto something good. And there's something familiar about coming up with a rating scale. Like, let's go 1 out of 5. How about if it's good, we give it boners, and if it's bad, we how bad? Like, I know it's kind of counterintuitive because bad would be 1 boner, but I always liked, before Rotten Tomatoes, one of my favorite movie reviews websites was I can't remember the name of it, but they used,
it was Rotten Apple, actually.
Oh, Rotten Apple, there it is. They used Fellini and not Ed Wood, but it must have been, oh god, how am I spacing his Roger Corman. So they would rate it by Fellini or Corman's. And what I liked about that was there's an appreciation for good bad movies, or good silly stupid movies. Like you wouldn't give you wouldn't put Raiders of the Lost Ark in the same category as you would, Barbed Wire. But maybe they were both equally enjoyable. So you give one, you know what I mean? So how about we do 1 through 5? If you really liked it and you thought it was a quality film, we'll rate it boners. And if you enjoyed the insanity of it, but maybe it was something that you couldn't quite say a grand film or a quality cinema experience, we can rate it by toilet. So I'm going to start. I'm going to give this, I'm going to give it 3.5 boners. I liked it.
Solid boner rating.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was really surprised. SBR. Chris, what say you?
I'm going to give it a solid 4 boners.
Very solid 4 boners. Chris or Lyle, you may have to adjust for crippler inflation. One crippler will be
use our favorite cryptid, and I was going to give it like say 4 fucking Mothmans, but I'm gonna go. Your favorite cryptid, Bigfoot or fucking what. But if we're gonna go with boners, and I feel bad about it, I guess. I'm gonna have to overall. Really, it was the graphics, the visual effects that really got.
You were hung up on the special effects.
It was like
just crippled you, huh?
Crippled the crippler, yeah.
Like David Copperfield knowing all the tricks, you know what I mean?
And then when watching the whole movie half crippled.
Yeah, I can tell that didn't spend enough time on it. So I'm gonna give it 2.5 boners.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll go back and rewatch this movie because it left me feeling stuff. It really did. And I know that I missed a lot of stuff. And when I do, I'll probably pay a bit more attention to that. And I bet some stuff will jump out at me. But not bad. John Mark, what say ye?
I'd say I'd give it a 4. It was well acted, well lit, well shot. The special effects were pretty good. Like you said, the score, there was just a few little things, you could tell it was like it was lower budget here or there, and there's a couple things like you're talking about the ending. Like the ending to me was like it was fine, but it was a little. I don't know if I would say jarring, but just like there was just something like just a little tiny bit off.
They hurt too fast.
Well, just all of a sudden it was over, and then everyone's dead, and then they fly off.
But yeah, overall it was quite an enjoyable experience, particularly given the way that we viewed the film. So I'm giving it a 4.
Yeah, 4 boners. Nice. Well, I think we overall enjoyed it. Some issues, but. Good Lord, check it out, because you never know how long things are going to be up on Netflix. Freaks. Recommended. Sorry if anyone listening at home, you've heard a couple of songs try to sneak up, because I was searching, because we need to decide what our next one will be, but we don't need to do that now, because it won't be next week. But we'll talk amongst ourselves and figure that out. But thanks for everyone that joined us on the Netflix party. It was really a lot of fun to watch that with you. And if you want to join us, all you got to do is be a Patreon subscriber. Let's just do $1 or fucker or more. Get in on there, give us $1 a month, and you'll get the link to join us. And we'll probably do this. I don't know. If the quarantine goes on much longer, we'll probably do this fairly regularly. And if not, we'll see what feels right. But I think it'll be fairly regular. It was easy to do.
It was.
And it's easy to just.
I had a really good time. We were surprised. I was like, honestly, I was like, here we are. Another commitment I'm iffy on.
Yeah.
Then we get into it. I'm like, this was so much fun.
Another commitment I'm iffy on. Uh-huh.
Story of my fucking life. All right. Well, since we were talking ad nauseum about budgets and film budgets specifically, I thought it'd be fun to trivia you guys on some low-budget movies that made a relative killing in the theater or just domestically. Also, on the other side of that coin, I do have the list of the most expensive films ever made. We could go through too. So you guys want to have some fun?
Adjusted for inflation or just overall?
I can do either way. Dealer's choice.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, but we'll start the low-budget movies that made a relative killing list. I do not believe this is adjusted for inflation, just so we're clear.
Gotcha.
Okay. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to list a movie, and I'm going to see what you guys guess was the budget and the worldwide gross. Like, how much did it make? We'll do it separately, and then whoever gets closest is just gonna get a point.
Gotcha.
And these are fucking hard. There's no way you would know these, so don't feel bad being a complete idiot. Because I was like, holy shit, I would never fucking know that was the amount they spent on the Blair Witch Project. Which leads me to our first movie, The Blair Witch Project, 1999. Ronster, what do you think the budget of the Blair Witch Project was to make that movie?
I feel like that was right around when I started doing my own movies and I was paying attention to things like this. I feel like it was about $1 million.
$1 million, okay. Sorry, I'm having a computer ish.
But now I also feel like it might be way less. Certainly looked way less, but.
John Mark, what do you think?
I don't know why, but the number 19,000 popped into my head.
Ooh.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like it might be a little bit high, but I'm going to say 3,000.
3,000.
Might be a little high. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that movie, I don't think anyone would be surprised that it cost $2,000.
Budget on the Blair Witch Project was $35,000.
Oh, fuck.
You have a point to John Mark real fast. Boop, 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 boop.
I'm thinking of something else that was a low-budget movie about that time that smashed it. That movie made a fucking killing.
It did. Speaking of, any idea how much it made worldwide?
Boy, what was good at that point? I'm going to guess it made... Fuck. I'm out of touch with how much movies made. Let's say $100 million.
100 mil. Okay. John Mark?
No one was not talking about it. But it wasn't.
I'm going to say worldwide, huh? I'm going to say 300 million.
Lyle?
I'm going to go with 100 million.
100. Oh, same as Ronster. Okay. It grossed.
We'll go 50 million.
50 million.
I was hoping you do 101.
Worldwide,
Bob.
Worldwide gross was nearly $250 million. Another point for John Mark. Okay.
Wow.
Moving on.
That's a hell of a profit, ain't it?
Now, I didn't. This may be silly of me, but I did not realize this was a low budget movie. But Mad Max, 1979's Mad Max was a low budget
the first
movie.
one. Yeah.
Let's make John Mark go first this time. What do you think the budget on Mad Max was, sir?
Fuck. I was just reading about this movie too.
This is why he does well at this shit. He's always just reading.
He's reading
always
shit.
just reading.
Fucking cheater.
I don't know. For some reason, I want to say 200,000.
Oh, that was exactly what I was thinking.
Well, is that what you want to go with as well, sir?
Let's do 225.
225.
500.
500,000. Actual retail price was 200,000.
Fucking hell.
Exactly.
You had to switch order. Wow.
What do you guys think that the gross worldwide for Mad Max was? John Mark, you go first.
Like up until today, or?
Well, I think
that's
this
a good
is.
question. Oh, theatrical.
I think this is a theatrical gross. Yeah.
Fuck. Jesus. Let's say, I don't know. We weren't really back then. We weren't really throwing around $1 billion revenues and shit like that. So
it's tricky to know how to go with this.
Say, God, let's say 500. No, that's too much. 400 million. I don't know.
Holy shit.
Okay. Ronster.
I'm looking at it a different way.
It's probably way too much.
And I was thinking closer to 20 million.
20 mil. Okay.
Because the very first one, I didn't even see until I was in my 30s. I thought Road Warrior was the first Mad Max. That was the first big one. But I think must have done okay.
I think I just got hecka bamboozled.
Maybe. I think it might be a bit high, but we could. Who knows?
Lyle.
10 million.
10?
Yeah, that was actually my first thought, but then John Marks threw me askew. I was like, maybe I better go a little higher.
Worldwide gross was just shy of $100 million.
Wow. Okay. You're still closer.
Yeah, so Ronster's going to take a point there. There you go, buddy. Right back in this.
Nice.
Boom. Okay.
Oh, wait. John Mark
20 mil. I thought John Mark guessed 400 mil.
Oh, I was closer. Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure Road Warrior was closer to those numbers.
Wait, wasn't the first one the Road Warrior?
No.
No, it was Mad Max.
yes,
It was an Australian film. I mean, it was just like
third one, the Thunderdome.
it just kind of became this cult thing. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, Road Warrior
Mad Max,
was,
Road Warrior, Thunderdome.
but it was the first big U.S. release, as far as I know.
The Thunderdome is the one I would figure that would gross a lot because of Grace Kelly.
Well, the first
That felt like the
Tina
biggest one.
Turner.
the first one was the one like where he loses his wife and baby, right, or whatever.
Yeah, it's Mad
Yeah.
Max.
Okay. I need to go back and rewatch some shits. Okay, moving on. 1976's Rocky.
No.
What was the budget on Rocky? John Mark. Ricky, go against your super fun.
40 grand.
$40,000, he says. Interesting. Ronster.
I'm gonna say 400,000.
Lyle.
100,000.
Budget was $1 million.
Wow.
Ronster gets another point.
Yeah.
It's still pretty impressive.
It's a pretty good looking movie. I mean, it's I think in our mind's eye, it's so simple, and that it's like it kind of feels low budgety, but but you got to remember how epic those boxing scenes
Literally
were.
decades.
Though. Yeah, beautiful scapes of the city and him running and training. There's some pretty good shit in there.
That's the thing is those city shots you have to pay for permits. Then you got to shut shit down.
Yeah, no kidding.
Say if you're there's a building you want to shoot in front of, you got to shoot 2 blocks around it and close it down and then pay off people. It's expensive.
And I think Stallone, while not a star, I think he was kind of a pretty big up and comer, wasn't he? Or was this
I don't know.
what introduced him? It was definitely his first big film.
Didn't he write this movie too?
He did, yeah.
Oh, I forget that.
Did Rocky come out before First Blood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I think it did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it did. I think
Because I couldn't remember. It was like maybe like one of them gave way to the other. I thought maybe his success in First Blood enabled him to do Rocky, or the other way around. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyways.
First Blood was the 80s. Rocky was mid 70s.
Like 76, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Which is crazy. I was 1 year old when it came out, but let me see. Let me just make. Yeah, Rocky was 76. First Blood. I love First Blood. That was still the best of the Rambo. Although Rambo 2 was the one that made me fall in love with the series. Yeah, 1982, First Blood.
Oh, okay.
Okay, worldwide gross of Rocky.
Oh,
John Mark.
God.
1976, huh? It was a pretty popular fucking movie. Let's go with 300 million.
Ronster.
I'm going to go pretty high. I'm going to go like 600 million. I feel like it was re-released before Rocky 2 came out, and it was, I'm going to go higher.
Okay, Lyle.
$4 million.
Did I say
4 mil?
600,000?
Wait, how much are you going with Ron?
600 million.
Okay, perfect. So 600 mil from Ron. John Mark put 300 mil out there. Lyle said 4 mil. Worldwide gross on Rocky was $225 million.
Yeah.
John Mark right back in the spring.
4 million, huh? Lyle?
Let's go listen somewhere and shed my tears. You guys want to finish without me or what?
I'm kidding. We'll do a few more here. How about Night of the Living Dead, 1968?
Ooh,
What was the budget for that movie?
good one.
John Mark.
$25,000.
25K. Ronster.
Well, this was, what was it, 1968, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go 100,000.
Lyle.
The one they had the mall, huh?
That was part 2.
Yeah, that was
That was Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. This one was just black and white, and it kind of just happened. Most of it happened in a house. It was another one of those one location things, which is how they kept it so low of a budget. But changed the world of horror and zombies forever.
I'll go 150,000.
Okay, the budget on Night of the Living Dead was $114,000. Ronster got that one just barely, though.
Just barely.
What did it gross?
God.
John Mark.
2 mil.
$2 million. John Mark. Excuse me, Ron.
Yeah, I should have him answer for me. I think it was a pretty big cult hit, but probably mostly in home video. But I'm going to say 20 million.
Lyle.
I'm going to go 10 million.
It grossed 30 million.
Nice.
So Ron's just thinking another point. Now, right now, Ron and John Mark both had 4 points a pop. Lyle, you don't have any yet, but we still got some game left to play, baby. All right. How about 1978's Halloween?
Oh.
What was the budget on that one? Ron, you're going to go first this time.
That was the 1978 is when that came out?
1978.
God, I could have sworn that was 1980. I should know everything about this movie because I used to listen to the audio commentary about it all the time. But I don't remember how much they spent on it, but I'm going to say 200,000.
Okay. John Mark.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So I'm going to say 225.
Oh, makes me
Damn, Gina. Lyle, you want to go 250?
250.
Yeah.
Retail price on that budget was $325,000.
Oh.
Lyle, you're going to get your first point here, baby.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. I feel so special.
All right, what did it gross worldwide? Ronster.
1978. Pretty gnarly move. I'm going to go 80 million.
John Mark.
Let's say 150.
150 mil. Lyle.
I'm going to go 50 million just for the time.
Oh, this is interesting because the gross on this was 70 mil, which is... Oh, I'm sorry. It was actually... Ronster was closest. Just barely, though. Boom.
Nice.
I'm not doing Price is Right rules here. I'm just doing closest to.
What did I guess?
80 mil.
Oh, great. Yeah, another... God, it's funny to watch that movie now. It's so cliche because it's been ripped off so many times, but it was a new way of doing things back then.
There's a lot of horror movies on this list, and I think that's interesting. I think that's why we probably keep getting horror. They're cheap to make and usually make their money back, huh?
Yeah, and I think horror fans, more than any other genre, will allow for a lower budget because of what they like in their movies, which is gore, humor, and just scare us. Like, if you can do one of those pretty well, we'll watch. If you do all three, you got yourselves a Halloween.
And the gore doesn't even have to be realistic. It can be kind of cheesy and make you kind of laugh because that's part of the whole fun of it. Because it's
like Evil Dead 2 is like one of the, to me, the greatest horror film of all time, and it goes straight into Three Stooges, Monty Python amount of blood. It's hilarious. Like, he's actually he's doing the cartoon like running on the guts on the floor because it's so slippery.
Well, speaking of Evil Dead, let's jump right into that one. The only one I have on this list is the first Evil Dead, though. So Evil Dead, the 1981 original. What was the budget on that one, Roster?
That one I know. Do you want me to go last?
Go last.
Okay.
John Mark?
I worshipped this movie and the crew making it.
I'm going to say 85K.
85K. Lyle?
300,000.
Ronster?
Yeah, he made me nervous. It's 350.
Yeah, it says 375 here, but I'm sure that could be just a discrepancy in this stupid article.
Oh, wow.
So 375 or 350, that gives you that point for sure. Now, how do you? It's just seared in your brain.
Well, I've read like those movies, the trilogy, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness, like some of my favorite movies of all time. But again, that was going back to when I was really interested in making movies. So I was obsessed with those commentaries. I read Bruce Campbell's book, If Chins Could Kill. He had an audio book that was sort of a cartoonish version of a made-up version of his life. So I just knew all those things. And his book was about, half of it was bio and being an indie actor, and the other half was the making of the Evil Dead movies. So, yeah. And I remember this one was a huge deal. Like this, how much it cost versus how much it made for a 1980 film was a big deal. Although my favorite review of it was Stephen King, who gave it a good review, but he said in spite of it, it was something like, it's a great movie in spite of its terrible effects here and there. And he says at one point there's a picture of the moon that looks like a postage stamp sticking in the sky.
That's
it's
great.
It's hilarious because you could just see all the framing around it and everything. But yeah, so yeah, I'm a fan and a student, I suppose, of that movie series.
Awesome. Ronster, you're the winner of this game today.
Oh,
well
excellent.
done, sir. 6 points. John Mark had 4, and well, you got 1. These are tough. I don't know if I would have got any of them. I do have some fun stuff. We don't necessarily have.
That one went on to gross like $1.5 million initially, and I think they extended it so it went closer to $3 million. Do I remember right? 2 million. Something like that.
It says worldwide gross of 29 mil here, and maybe that's taking into something else.
Well, it was re-released. See, it got shut down. They called it a video nasty.
Yeah,
but that was by the time
rated
it made.
X at first. They tried to rate it X or something.
Yeah. But, I mean, a tree does rape a girl in that movie. Spoilers, I guess. But really, really bold for 19.
It does in the second one, too.
Yeah, they didn't do that nearly as... did they do it? I don't think they did it in the second one. I think
they did.
Huh. I remember them cutting it out. I know they did it in the remake, which I was surprised they went there with that. But good shit.
Okay, so I've got a list of the top 50 most expensive movies to make. Actually, this list is it's one of those things where if it's a tied number, it just says 26, 26, 26, 26. This is probably closer to 100.
Okay.
Top 100 most expensive movies ever made. I can do it either as the dollars in which they were spent on that day or adjusted for inflation. What would you prefer?
I think adjusted for inflation makes more sense.
Okay. All right. So I guess we can just kind of see if you guys can guess any off the list, and I'll tell you where they land.
Oh, baby.
Which are we going in order, or are we just free balling it?
Whatever you guys want to do. Let's free ball it. Fuck it. Let's get weird.
Titanic.
Titanic.
That's a good one.
Titanic was number 6 on the list. Let's see. Cost adjusted to make $319 million.
That last Avengers movie kept being talked about as the most expensive movie of all time, so that's got to be on there, right?
Well, okay. There's something I should have said beforehand. Apologies. There's a few movies. They are on there. They're broken into 2 separate movies, but some of the movies that were filmed as one movie, like the Tolkien movies, are not on this list because they were 3 movies filmed, so they don't include them. Anything that was a joint production. The Avengers did film a lot back to back, but then they did do a separate whole thing for movie 2, I think. So that's why they're on this list. So the Avengers movies are 4 and 5, Endgame and Infinity War. Let's see. They were 356 mil for Endgame and 322 mil for Infinity War.
I'm going to say Independence Day.
That's a great guess. Let me see if it's on here. It's not on the top 50 or 100, whatever this is. Strangely, I thought that would be a lot
that seemed like a big
higher. Yeah.
How about Avatar?
Avatar's definitely.
Yeah, God.
Let's see. Avatar and the adjusted number 14 on the list. 2009's Avatar, 282 mil.
If we're including like adjusting for inflation, Cleopatra's got to be on there. I know that was Cecil B. DeMille, I think, wasn't it? All of his biblical epics were like, at the time, they were the most expensive films in history.
Yeah, number 26 on the list, 260 mil adjusted for inflation. The actual price that was filmed at, the dollar amount in 1963 was 31 million.
Wow. I'm going to say Jurassic Park.
It's got to be spending.
Good one. Let's see. Sorry, sir. It takes me a bit to scroll this. I'm sure there's a fucking find feature, but it sometimes doesn't work.
How do you search for the find feature?
I don't see it on here, sir. Strangely, that's
a rigged list. That's a rigged list.
How about The Abyss?
Okay, hold on. Oh,
that was pretty early on computer special effects. I bet that cost a pretty penny.
I don't see The Abyss either. God, I wish they'd let me search. This is a Wikipedia, so I'm literally just doing Control F, but then... No, it was 43 million to make that.
Wasn't John?
Wow, that seems cheap.
Wasn't John Carter?
John
part
Carter's
of its issue was that it cost so much that no matter what they did, they were never going to make that money back.
I think so. Let me see if
Although
I
they
can
did
find
make the money
it.
back,
John,
I think.
John Carter was number 11 on the list they made. They,
wow.
they spent $294 million making that.
I love that fucking movie.
Honestly, I've totally panned until you made me watch it, and it was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again because I thought it was pretty good too.
Yeah.
It's rewatchable. I've watched it several times. One of the first Blu-rays I got, actually.
Anyone else got any other guesses where I just chime in with the top 20 here?
What about Spider-Man?
Spider-Man 3 is on there. Was in the top 7. And that was the one that really tanked, that nobody really liked.
So no one's got the number one yet. Is that right?
Nope. That's correct.
We should all go. Let's all go around the horn.
Give us a
time.
hint. Give us a hint.
Okay.
Give us a hint if it was when it was what era was it made?
I'll tell you the year. Number 1, 2011, and it's part of a series of movies.
I know what it is, but I don't know which one.
Yeah, I bet you do. I don't even know if I've seen this one. It's funny because there's 2 of them in the top 5.
Yeah.
Ronster, why don't you go first since you know?
Well, if I get the wrong one, well, fuck it. I'm guessing it's one of the Pirates of Caribbean.
Correct.
I know. I feel like by far the best one was the first one.
Yeah. Even 2 was pretty good, right?
But I don't even. So it was, the first one was the Black Pearl. The second one was Dead Man's Chest. What was the third one?
I don't think I saw him past that.
I don't remember the name of that one. I gotta guess the third one, whatever that one is, because that's how these seem to go. The last one gets the most.
Was it Stranger Tides or was it the fourth one?
Was there a fourth one? Oh God, there was a fourth one. Oh, there was a fourth one that came back later.
Was it At World's End?
That could be it.
No, so it looks like 2007 was At World's End. 2011.
Okay, I'm going with the last one.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Mike. Because by that time, everyone has seen. If they didn't see it at the theater, they would have seen it on TV or on DVD. So I'm guessing the last one.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, 2011. I don't know, maybe that was the last one they made. I'm not really sure, but that they spent $430 billion making that movie.
Half a mil almost. What is the biggest budget out the door right now? Is that still it?
No, that's the biggest one. Avengers: Age of Ultron. That sounds better. Was number 2 on that list. That was filmed in 2015. That was one of the Avengers movies.
That's crazy that Pirates cost more than Avengers that just came out. Because Pirates is 10 years old.
How about Armageddon? That's got to be on.
Armageddon it.
I mean, that was definitely.
Don't want to close my eyes.
Yeah, it was
it was definitely a blockbuster, big budget movie, but I don't see it on this list.
I mean, they had to get Affleck and Aerosmith.
Oh, it is on this list, number 62, tied
And Bruce
for
Willis.
number 62. They made $220 million adjusted.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I haven't seen that movie forever. I bet it don't hold up.
I don't think it does.
The 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s, most things don't hold up well.
It's weird, like the Con Air and that I used to love, and the fucking The Rock. You gotta go back and you try to watch those.
Mm-hmm. We're breaking out of this joint, guys. Well, it's hard to see a lot of those actors now because we've seen them in such ridiculous memes and parodies, and parody was a thing back then, but not memes like they are now. So it's hard to take a lot of those characters seriously anymore. But
let's go through the top 20 here, unless you guys had anything else you wanted to guess.
No, let's do that and then get on out of here.
All right, top 20. 2004 Spider-Man 2 was $271 million, tied with 2005's King Kong. Same amount of money.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love that movie.
The Last Jedi was number 19 on the list at $273 million. And it's funny because the next 2 were Star Wars movies as well. Number 18 is The Rise of Skywalker, which was $275 million, and then The Force Awakens, which was $279. Another one, Solo, the Star Wars story. I love that movie. I don't know why that didn't do well.
Still haven't seen that.
I really enjoyed it. That was really enjoyable. I think you should give that a spin. It has this John Carter feel to it for sure. For me, $280 million on that one. Batman v Superman at number 15. I really like that movie too. I know I get shit on a ton. 280 mil. Avatar, we got. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, 2006, 285 mil. This is the one I'm surprised nobody guessed. Waterworld, 95.
Oh, right, yeah. I actually like Waterworld. I think it's not a great movie, but it's fine. It's just as good as any of the early Mad Max ones. I'm sorry, it is
so goofy.
It is, but it's like it's a cartoon. Just enjoy the 3-hour ride or however long. It felt like it was long. Maybe I'm thinking of The Postman, which I also liked.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Number 10, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince from 2009.
I will defend The Postman till the end of my days.
298. Tangled. You guys ever see Tangled?
I haven't. I'm familiar with it.
It's adorable. I'm watching a lot of kids' movies lately.
Yeah, me too.
I did. That movie's actually pretty good.
Yeah, all the Pixar
They're all
Disney
pretty
movies
fucking good, yeah.
We watched Frozen 2 a couple of times recently.
I still have managed to dodge the Frozen movies, but...
they're great, man. They're great. They're really good.
I'm probably going to pop my Onward cherry here soon because I don't see dodging that much longer. But everyone says they cry on it.
Yeah, it's got some heavy shit. Some daddy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Justice League, 2017. 313 mil. Number 7 was Spider-Man 3 we got. 6 was Titanic we got. 4 and 5 were the Avengers movies. 3 was Pirates of the Caribbean. 2 was Avengers Age of Ultron at 394 mil. And again, the most expensive film ever made was Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides in 2011, adjusted at $430 million.
That is some Disney-ass money right there.
Disney.
Fucking Disney, bruh. They could buy the country if they wanted.
Well, I'm looking forward to doing our next movie night. I thought that was a ton of fun, and I want to get more people involved.
Yeah, by the next episode, we will have figured out the next date and the next movie. So we'll try to keep this going fairly regularly. So thanks for joining us on Cinema Club. Maybe it'll come back to us what we originally called this thing. I feel like the word taint was in it, but maybe I'm just in a mood.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun, yeah. And
Kennel Club with Ron.
Yeah, now that we know what this looks like, hopefully...
Come on, Kennel Club and not a laugh.
Well, I was sad that what was it? I had what I thought was a great laugh at some point, maybe when the dad got shot in the movie and time couldn't be manipulated, and I put in, if I could turn back time. It was just crickets. Like, not only did nobody acknowledge it, but no one said anything for like the next 10 minutes. It was one of those parts of the movie where everyone shut up and was like, fine.
Movie where the died in their arms, and Ron's like popping chair jokes in the chat group.
It probably was. That was probably it.
Your head laugh about.
There were periods where we just kind of got lost into the movie, and that was probably one of them. If I could turn back time. I did sing it while I typed it, though. Anyway, if you want to support the show, you can do so ongoing at patreon.com/Tales from the Space Pod. $1 or fucker or more gets access to all of the old Tales from the Space Pod shows, bonus features like joining us on our Netflix movie night. And if you only want to do a one-time donation, you can go to paypal.me/thecometmag, and that will help us keep the ship afloat in these dire, bizarre times. You got that stimulus check? Well, why don't you stimulate our bank account, because it's looking pretty scary up in these parts. I can't believe I'm paying my bills. The only thing I'm really making money on right now is art. People are still buying it. I've had more commissions this past month.
Working at the place?
Yeah, I am. Actually, I am making money through that apothecary shop, but it's not steady or regular, but it's money. Sure. All right, y'all. Join us next week. We'll be talking about 9/11.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Around the horn.
I didn't even see that whole footage.
Go ahead, Lyle. No.